This is Wandering Woman with Travel Award Search. Today with a review of British Airlines business class. We're going to talk about both the pluses and the minuses of this Boeing 787 trip from London Heathrow to Houston Intercontinental in October 2024. So just a little while ago. The flight was booked using American Advantage miles about 8 months in advance. As usual, when we returned from this trip, Clem was very happy to see us back home. And she's going to help us with the different points in the video in case you want to jump around. Let's start with the seating. First of all, it is more than irritating to me that advanced seat selection in business class, if you don't have one world status, is 200 euros and more per seat. This plane has a 232 seating configuration in business class, so somewhat unusual. It is the strangest layout that we've seen. You actually face the person next to you. One person is sitting in a forward direction, the next person is sitting in a backward direction. That's okay for people traveling together, but it's very weird for someone traveling alone. And on this particular flight, I was traveling alone. There is a barrier in between that you can put up and down, almost like a window, but it's still very odd. The aisle seats are open to the aisle. There's no side barrier on these seats. The shell of the seat is just behind the seat. And the footrests are unique. They're not attached to the seat and supporting you as you move the seat back. They are attached to the seat in front of you and fold down. Anyone not on an aisle has to step over the person next to them, especially if they're sleeping, in order to get out, because the access is through the area where the footrest comes down. So a very strange seating layout. When you got to your seat, it had the typical items. It had a pouch with a mattress pad and comforter for sleeping, a nice sized pillow, and headphones and an amenity kit. And the amenity kit had the typical assortment with socks, eye shades, toothbrush, toothpaste, lotions, and earplugs. It came in a fairly nice little bag. There was no comb or brush included. The seating area did have a nice large drawer for storage, or large as this kind of seating comes with. The entertainment screen folded out from the wall, as did the tray table. And the tray table did slide up nice and close for eating and pretty far back for getting up. It also had an electrical port, although mine didn't work so well. I had very little charge to my phone even after being plugged in for hours. After boarding, I was greeted pretty promptly with champagne or orange juice. You might guess I chose the champagne. I was a little alarmed when I looked at the menu and it said they were, quote, serving the best of Indian culture intertwined with our own British originality. Neither one of those cuisines are my personal favorites, but turned out I was pleasantly surprised by the food. I started by trying their cranberry blush cocktail with the small bag of nuts they gave us, and that was actually very nice. The smoked salmon roll appetizer was excellent. I really enjoyed that. And I followed that with the Cornish chicken breast, which was very good, and I was hungry, so I ate it before I got a picture of it. And then I opted for the cheese tray for dessert, which was also good, and I ate a little bit before I took this picture. So I was kind of hungry. I also had the Irache Reserva red wine from Spain and enjoyed that. I had tried the Sauvignon Blanc and did not care for that quite as much. When serving food, the flight attendant actually had to lower the divider to the seat next to me to serve him in the middle seat. He and I had chatted as I boarded, and we just kind of laughed about it, but it was a crazy system. And the flight attendant also had to climb over some people or raise the footrest in order to get to some of the seats, like the window seats. So I don't think they had much input on the layout. As I was eating, I had started in the entertainment system. As I mentioned, the screen came out from the wall. It wasn't terribly large. It's about 12 inches, but it was adequate. It had a touchscreen and a controller, although my touchscreen took some real pressure to respond. Headphones were nice. It had movies, games, TV shows, and music. It had a number of TV shows, but very limited movie selections, with things like Dreamgirls and Beverly Hills Cop under recent. So they could do better on that. My particular screen didn't load any thumbnails, so making a selection from the movies and the TV shows was a bit cumbersome for me, although I think that might have been unique to my screen, as the screen across the aisle from me I noticed had some items on it that I did not. The flight progress screen was also not terribly informative, although again that may have been because of the glitch in my particular system. After a little bit of movie watching, really settled into go to sleep for a while in the all-important lie flat beds. The beds were fully lie flat. They gave you a mattress pad, a pretty nice little comforter, and a very nice full-size pillow. It was comfortable even with the rather unusual footrest setup. The controls required a pretty hard and long push to respond to all the seating configurations. But when the lights went down, I did sleep pretty well. The dinner service was prompt and attentive, and after the lights went down, I didn't see any active service, although I was asleep for a while, but they were quite responsive when you went up and asked them for something. The breakfast service was also pretty prompt, and the meals were okay. I was more interested in coffee than anything else. I booked this flight on the American Airlines website for 57,500 AAdvantage miles and $388 in fees. Fees on British Airways tend to be very high because of going in and out of London. The cash cost, based on half of a round trip, was $21.55 at the time of booking. That translates to a value of 3.1 cents a mile, which I consider quite good. So in summary, first of all, the lie flat seats are the very most important thing to me, and those were quite comfortable. Despite this rather strange seating layout, I would certainly fly them again, although some of their planes do have a more amenable 1-2-1 configuration, so I might try to get one of those instead. The food was pretty good. The entertainment system was not the best, but I could find things to watch. British Airways does have pretty high fees passing through the taxes to London, but the trade-off is that they also have pretty good availability for business class on their flights. So I would definitely recommend taking a look at them, and if the timing of the flights works and it's a reasonable award redemption, I certainly wouldn't hesitate to do that. We hope you enjoyed this video. This is Wandering Woman and Clem with Travel Award Search. We certainly appreciate your likes and your shares and would love to hear your comments. As always, travel wisely, travel well. Thank you.